Hi, Lynn.
Good morning.
It is a beautiful morning.
It is. It is. It is. How are you feeling today?
Very human.
Oh, that is so good. That is so good. Which reminds me, oh, I was going to send this to you and just that you would have. This was on my calendar. This is on my, I think my Louise Hay calendar I get every day. I'm going to take a picture and send it to you now, but it was on Tuesday, right after Tuesday we talked, but then I saw this Tuesday night. Healing happens. I get my mind out of the way and allow the intelligence of my body to do its healing work naturally.
Yeah.
Exactly what you were saying.
That's what we're trying to do, is get out of the way. I mean, there's just nothing but our imagination to block us.
Exactly. Exactly. The challenging part is, how do we get out of the way, and not keep reclaiming it or whatever.
And not have to go through pain and suffering to reach the point of willingness to let go of trying to control and manage and manipulate life. I just am totally frustrated with the whole process.
Well, maybe that's part of the letting go. So maybe that's good. Your frustration will lead you to saying, okay, I give up. I give up.
That's what I do every day. It's like, I'm just so frustrated with this process. And I surrender. I give up. I just give up on the need. But so today, I want to do a meditation on our letting go of our limiting beliefs. Because I think that's the basis of all our human problems. And there are no problems outside of our human problems.
That's true.
It's all in our mind. And
it's
even,
all,
go ahead.
I say, and it's all as a result of our separation from God and each other. That we live in that space of call it fear, call it whatever, of living in these human bodies. So it's like, what I keep thinking is, okay, so we're spiritual beings. God wants us to live out of our spiritual self, but puts us in human bodies. I have to believe the only reason we're in human bodies is not to grow our spirit, not to grow into enlightenment. Enlightenment is basically, well, let me backtrack. Anyway, I believe the only reason we're in these human bodies is to help heal the earth, to help heal the world. Because we're already perfect. We're perfect, we're whole. We can just tap into that. So I think, so why do we have to be here in these limiting human bodies? And more and more I read and think it's so that we can help others get to that same reality. Good morning, Miss Cinda.
Is it just you and me? No, there's three of us here. There's Sue.
Good morning.
Good morning. I'm racing. Okay, trying to get onto the computer too.
I get a feeling you're not a morning person.
I am so a morning person, but I get up so early that and then I race.
Okay. Well, my guess was wrong. I'm not a morning person, so I am racing to the computer. But
Well, right. I get up really early, drink coffee, read. My husband and I chat. It's our chatting time. It's lovely. Oh my gosh, my computer's doing an upgrade. So
that's interesting because my husband's and I chatting time is after dinner. It's like, if we start to say something to him, so let's wait till we're, don't interrupt me now. We'll chat at dinner.
It's just nice to have that.
You're right, Sue. We need to be grateful for that.
Yeah, it doesn't matter when it is. It's just having that very intimate, special connecting time. So Lynn and I are talking about you can call them limiting beliefs. Today, this morning, I'm calling them my fucking limiting beliefs. Because that's my attitude this morning about my limiting beliefs. They're in my way. And I find that's just it. That's just my problem. So, that's kind of what we're just talking about. There really isn't anything else. So this, just continuing on what you said, Lynn, what the last thing I have read, and it's the thing I remember because it seems like I forget everything I read right after reading it. The last thing I read was that we're all multi-dimensional beings. So we picked our human body, we picked free will, we put in place what we call the veil, which is we forgot we're multi-dimensional beings. We forgot our connection to God. It's all deliberate. And it is to do the work of remembering we're multi-dimensional beings. Use the senses of taste, smell, touch, hear, feel in a positive, compassionate way. And to go back to living in all good, but with the appreciation that it's free will and we're here by choice. And that made sense to me. I like it. It's like one of the stories of creation I hadn't heard quite like that. And I like it. So for now, that's my creation story. We did it. We did it all. We chose. We set it up. And so now I'm looking for the inner calm. I want to find the inner calm that goes to my higher self and say, okay, I've played the game by the rules. Enough is enough. I want full awareness. I want full awareness. I am a multidimensional being. I'll play by the rules here on planet Earth, but I want full awareness. I haven't had an answer yet. Okay. So check-in, that's my check-in. It's a fucking morning. It's beautiful. It's warm. I love being here. It's peaceful. I'm in community. We're all pitching in and helping. It's wonderful. And I want my awareness. Next.
I don't know. I keep going back to, I love this one statement of that I use in meditation sometimes as I am as God created me. Which is perfect love, perfect wholeness, perfect health. I am as God created me. And then I feel sometimes, maybe in the same way you do, so trapped in this human body. But it's part of my mission is to be here. But the challenge is, like you said, full awareness is to remember who I am, to remember who I truly am at my core of my being. And so I can see beyond whatever challenges or whatever, and know that it's all an illusion, and reality with a big R is my connection to God, my connection to everyone, to each other, to creation. And I'm to bring this love into the world. I'm supposed to bring who I am totally into the world, which will help others be aware of their true nature. And that's hard. Oh my God, these bodies keep tripping us up. That's what I feel. The bodies keep tripping us up, And then, since I was reading this, this was on my my calendar a couple of days ago. I think it was my Louise Hay calendar. It says, "Healing happens. I get my mind out of the way and allow the intelligence of my body to do its healing work naturally." And I really believe that that's true, and not in healing in all of its aspects, whether it's emotional, mental, spiritual, physically, is that getting ourself out of the way and to connect with that which is wholeness. I don't know how to do that other than in meditation, my walks in nature. I can do it for moments, but then how to sustain it is a challenging part. Is that sustaining? So I'm just showing up. I'm showing up here so that I can struggle with these things with other people, other light beings that take their being here seriously and their mission here seriously, and not get lost in all of it. That's me.
I was just thinking that exact thing, Lynn, when I was hearing Sue talk. I was like, how awesome is it to be surrounded by peers that can have these outrageous conversations? I mean, these deep, thoughtful questions like, who am I? Why am I here? What is my purpose? What is my mission? Did I really sign up for this? I just read this and this makes sense to me, or I just read that and it doesn't make sense. I just have chills at the beauty and the grace of these moments that we can share. And I just am feeling so fortunate and lucky. And I'm grateful to you, Sue, that we have this group to come to. So it's been the month of nieces. I have many nieces and nephews. I'm a mother of only boys, so I have this attraction to my nieces and a huge desire to spend time with them. So I have a couple nieces that are sisters, and I scheduled time with them to do lunch. I did lunch with one and dinner with the other. And I chose restaurants that would fit their personality, or their love of either exotic foods or classy foods or whatever, or exotic cocktails. And then I have another niece from a different family that is in town on an internship. And so I've taken her under my wing and introduced her to the area, to the neighborhood. And then another niece just recently from a different family. I mean, they're all my family, but brothers, sisters, or in-laws. And she's starting medical school here at Oregon State Health and Sciences. And I, so I took her to see her apartment and introduced her to the neighborhood. And it's been so fun. And I think they all view me as being their eccentric, eclectic aunt. And another one of my nieces wrote about me in her essay for college about, who's someone that's made the biggest imprint on your life and why. And she talked about her eclectic aunt. I didn't know I was eclectic, but when you have beliefs like we do in this room right now, it might be viewed as being very eclectic and unusual, and a different way for them. You reach a point, right, probably with maturity and age, where you just are who you are, and it seems like the children accept it. Maybe not the peers, but the children do. So of course all these children are adults now. But last night I met with one of my nieces at a fun restaurant, really classy, really unique, great cocktails. And I had parked my car, found a parking place directly in front. She walked up the same time I arrived. We went in, but I knew I had to pay for parking. And I have the Parking Kitty app. Anyway, it's an app that you can pay for your parking online, but it wasn't working, which meant I had to go pay for it in one of the machines. So I go to the machine, but there's a homeless woman leaning against the machine. And I didn't have my wallet with me. I just had my credit card. My wallet was at the table in the restaurant. And I felt really guilty that I didn't have anything to give her as I'm leaning over her head and talking to her as I'm punching in the information. And she's just looking up at me. And she's a beautiful older woman. And I just said, I'm so sorry, I don't have my purse with me to give you any cash. She goes, oh, it's okay. It's okay. So I thought, I'm going to give her some money after dinner is over. So I walk my niece to her car, come back around, come up to this woman, give her $10. And she's like, thank you, sweetie. And I realized she's not drunk. She's not on drugs. She's doesn't particularly look healthy, but not unwell. And I strike up a conversation with her. First time I've ever really done this. And I said, what can I do for you? Because she'd by then told me that she had heart issues and wasn't strong enough to walk places. I mean, she leans on her shopping cart, but she really needs a wheelchair. And I'm like, well, I can't get you a wheelchair, and I just gave you money, and I suppose you don't have the strength to go grocery shopping. Can I go grocery shopping for you? And so she gave me a shopping list, and they included a jar of mayonnaise to put on her sandwiches. They included watermelon chunks and coleslaw and some of those chicken strips that you can get at Fred Meyer's. I mean, she gave me, it was very sweet, and Powerade, not the sugar-free kind. And I'm like, okay, $76 later, substantial shopping bag filled with Powerade. And I found some Chef Boyardee cans of pasta beef stuff, and a thing of chocolate donuts, and a thing of oranges, and two things of watermelon, and two little packages of salami, almonds, and crackers and cheese. I mean, I tried to get everything contained, some string cheese, stuff, because you can't keep anything refrigerated that, even if it got warm, it wouldn't go bad because it's sealed. She was so grateful and in awe and not greedy. She said, honey, I don't need oranges. I have oranges. And so these will just go bad. I can't take 2 containers of watermelon because I won't be able to eat them that quickly. So she's like, can you use the watermelon? Can you use the oranges? I don't need both of the containers of salami and cheese and crackers. I'll just take one. And then she's like, and the Chef Boyardee, to be honest, because of the humidity, the cans out in the elements won't last. So I'll take 2 if you can take the other 2. Anyway, so what was this huge overflowing grocery sack actually got smaller and smaller and smaller, and actually easier for her to maintain. And I was fascinated by this. I wasn't even doing it out of pity. I wasn't even doing it. I was doing it to be kind, but it just seemed right. It just seemed like the right thing to do, going up and down the aisles in the grocery store, trying to think of what would, that she would like. I got her a smut book, a romance novel. I got her a word circle game. She didn't want those. But I don't know. I've never really done anything. I've given people money, especially women. But I've never really gone grocery shopping for someone before. And I came home with all these oddities of food, and my husband like, I thought you were at dinner with Sydney. And I go, I was, but then I met this homeless woman and I told him that I went grocery shopping. And he's like, she didn't want this. And I'm like, she knew what she could consume and what she couldn't. And she didn't want things to go to waste or go bad. It was just amazing. So in my grace journal this morning, I wrote a whole page on that experience with this woman. I just, and I worried about her all night because how is she going to keep this stuff safe for her from other homeless people that wouldn't just come and steal it from her, and her not having the strength to stop them? So I just put a guardian circle of protection around her and hope that she would find the strength to move someplace healthy, safe, a safe place. And then I was thinking of all the things I could have done. Maybe I could have given her a ride to someplace. Oh, I don't know. And then, Sue, you're bringing into the circle, what if this is something she just signed up for? What if this is her journey? And then if that's the case, what is she learning? What, and why would that be so? And I don't know. It was an interesting moment to share with this woman named Julie. So anyway, nice to talk about it out loud.
We're all learning.
Yeah, and that brings up for me too an article I read sometime this week, where the homeless problem and how we're always trying to solve it, and there's so much emphasis put on mental health and as a cause, mental health and drugs and alcohol. And this person was saying the real reason is we don't have affordable housing.
Mhm.
That is one of the biggest one, and it gets so overlooked that so many people on the street may be working, but there's no affordable housing if you have a minimum wage job. There's, and somehow in the huge amount of wealth that is here, we've got to have housing that people can access. And I know that's part of what people are trying to solve, but I think it's not talked about enough. It's easier, I think, to blame it on some failure on the part of the person than failure on part of the culture or whatever. Anyway, that just made me think of that.
Yeah, this woman wasn't mentally ill. She was physically struggling, but she wasn't mentally ill, and she wasn't on drugs, and she wasn't drunk.
Right, exactly.
And she was just very weak. I don't know if she was vulnerable. I'm sure she was, but there's people I worried about her, but I also had a feeling that, I don't know. It was just,
I'm sure you were meant to encounter her, if for nothing else, to just pray angels around her every day, just for her protection. That's part of what I was trying to say in mine is, why are we in these bodies? Why do we have the burden of these bodies and such? It's because of how we need to spread our love and our light out in the world. And that's what you were doing. It's not only about our healing.
Yeah, if anything, I hope she got the gift of being seen, of being heard, of being respected, that someone would actually go to the grocery store for her, that's, with her shopping list. I was typing it into my phone. That hopefully that interaction would offer something. Because there was so much I couldn't give her. I can't give her shelter. I didn't think about giving her a ride anywhere. I don't know if she would have accepted it if I offered it. Yeah. So just not to be invisible. So many people walked past us as we were talking, just not even. What was interesting for me was I know that there are moments in my life where I do something because I feel like I'm supposed to be doing it. You know what I mean? And there are these moments where I actually feel like, oh, I'm doing God's work right now. Isn't this awesome? Or I'm making this first person feel good about themselves. Isn't it great that I'm doing this? Cindy, you're so brave. Wow, look at, where I feel, I don't know what the right word is, where I'm aware of the intention in which I'm doing it and observing myself doing it and feeling pious. Is that the right word? And what I'm trying to say is there's actually some falseness in that, where I feel I'm doing it and I'm observing myself doing it. And I'm like feeling so good about myself for doing it and thinking, God points, yay me. I don't know. You know what I mean? But
Absolutely.
this was very different. there was none of that. I was completely present with her. I wasn't doing it for me, so I felt better about myself. I didn't observe it as I was doing it. It felt so different. It still feels different, and I don't know really what that difference is, except that it just felt like it didn't even feel, but like my husband said, well, it just felt like the right thing to do. And it was the right thing to do, but I wasn't doing it because it was the right thing to do.
It sounds to me like you were doing it out of this, when I say, I am as God created me, out of this true self, not out of ego. The other times when we're doing it, and I do the same too, there is some ego involved. And
Absolutely.
that you were doing it out of the purity of your spirit, with no ego attached. To me,
No.
that's what sounds different.
Yeah. I think that really was it. And I just wonder why was it different in that moment? If it was her, or if it was me, or just the situation, or.
What would be really interesting is if somebody, if you went back 2 minutes and looked and see if she was still there. What if she was an angel and she just disappeared? Because it was a lesson, an opportunity, an experience, an awakening, a new awareness.
How fascinating. Well, you know what was really funny is when I pulled back up in my car, there was a parking place right in front of her, and which wasn't there when I left. And so I pulled up, and she's just watching people walk by. I mean, she's not begging. She doesn't have a sign. She doesn't have a jar or a cap. She's just sitting there. And, people are walking by on the sidewalk. It was a really busy, warm evening. And then when I came around and I said, Julie, hi, I'm back with your groceries. And she looked up at me and she could not believe I had come back. She was not expecting it. And she goes, really? You really went to Fred Meyer's and went grocery shopping for me? And I went, I did. And she was just like, it was like she couldn't believe it. And anyway.
But that's a perfect example of how limiting beliefs limit our life experiences until what I call a miracle happens. So, the old saying, a teacher shows up when we're ready for that teacher. Well, I also think it's the miraculous experience shows up because we asked for it, because we're ready. So whether it was her or yours, I suspect it's both. It's just a new experience beyond our normal everyday experience, beyond our normal everyday limiting beliefs.
Yeah, I think you're making a really interesting point, because if I were to think of what my prayer has been, I'll be turning 60, and I'm just really wanting to figure out how I'm going to live this final quarter of my life. What will I be doing? And so my prayer has been, dear God, show me, guide me, where do I go from here has been my biggest prayer. Where do I go from here? Where do I go from here? What do I do with the rest of my life? And and the only thing I really care about is doing God's work, bringing heaven down to earth, period. But how do I do that? And now that we're talking about this, that was a little moment of that.
Mhm.
I was able to bring heaven down to earth for me, and maybe for her, and maybe for others that were viewing us, especially the ones sitting out on the patio at the restaurant. They saw me talking to her. They saw me leave. They saw me come back with groceries. No one said anything, but if they were aware, they would have seen that interaction happening. And of course, it's not why I did it. I'm just thinking about that now. So maybe you're right. So maybe there's a part of that is, yeah, how we show up, what it is that we're supposed to be doing. And maybe the gift was for her and for me both. I think so.
Yeah, and it was much more than the food. I think for her, it's that you showed her that she has value. Maybe the first time, or the first time in a long time at least, that she could feel that she had value.
And it wasn't because I pitied her.
Mhm.
There was none of that. In the past, when I would do something, I would be all like, "Oh, you poor thing, are you okay? Let me, here's some money." And I would touch them, and they would like not want to be touched. And there was no pity. There was a huge amount of compassion. But Scott's like, "Did you ask her how she got here and her life story?" And I'm like, "No." Because he's like, "Well, this is a fascinating moment. I want to know, how did she get to be where she is on the street?"
Yeah.
So,
Discerning when the ego is involved versus my heart and soul. That's the awareness. That's part of the awareness I want. So while you're talking, I'm thinking, I have a really hard time, me personally, handing something over, but I have absolutely no qualms about. We just finished Thanksgiving dinner. My kids were grown up, but it was years ago. And we passed the man under the viaduct going to the parking lot. And oh, this feeling was so strong inside of me. And I think it was in all of us. But I stopped and I said, if I gave you a piece of ham and a piece of turkey to my son, would you take it to the man back there? And he said, yes. So we had all these wonderful leftovers. So I took a piece of ham and I took a piece of turkey and I handed it to him and he took it to the man. And that felt absolutely right. And there was nothing there except the desire to help. Nothing there. And other times, if it's just me, it's just so much fear. There's just so much fear.
right.
And then my nephew and I were driving, and he's probably 9, 10, 11, somewhere in there. And there's an older man, a vet, with a sign saying, I'm a vet, I need help. And I gave him, I don't know, it could have been $5. And I said, we're at a stoplight, would you quickly open the door and give the man this money? So he opened the door because the man was right there. We stopped right there. He opened the door, he gave the man the money, and then we drove off. And that felt absolutely right. But there was a woman downtown Seattle, and I didn't do anything for, and it haunts me. And there was a man a long time ago who said, I won't hurt you. And I was too afraid. I was just too afraid. I couldn't do anything. And he was on crutches because he like lost a leg or knees down. I don't know. Anyway, and and then there was a man who was homeless, and I actually went and got him a cup of coffee and set it on a ledge and said, that's for you. But I didn't have to get that close to him. And so either fear consumes me, or I'm so at peace, I know exactly what to do and how to do it. And now there's a huge difference. I know exactly what to do. I know I'm safe, and I know how to do it.
You're asking for awareness, and I would say I think you have mastered your awareness because you're even aware of when you're afraid. And what if that fear is your intuition, your awareness telling you, not that person, he's not safe. Even if he has crutches, there was something energetically that was not in an alignment and safe for you to go to that person, but to go to the other ones, you know, you would actually go take an extra step. Because that, I think maybe your craving for and your desire for awareness is that it presents itself in a certain way that you are fully aware that you're aware. And for as long as I've known you and listened to your stories, you are nothing but aware. And I think your awareness is so much of the breath that you breathe, Sue, that it's that you know, it doesn't come at you anymore. You know, we all know those moments, and they're so profound, and they're so, you know, those God moments, and we're like, oh, that felt amazing, you know, and more of that, please. But I think in our maturity as spiritual beings, we get less and less of those God moments because we are accepting more and more that we are gods. And so I would say that your prayer to become more aware is, what's the word, redundant, because you are already so aware, but it's not presenting itself to you in these profound godly moments because you have absorbed truly what it means to be heaven on earth, God here, you know, representing God in human form.
Well
Thank you.
said.
Thank you. That brings clarity to an awareness that I'm getting right now, and that I got yesterday. That when are you going to see that you're already doing what you're asking for? And that's yeah, that's my frustration. It's just recognizing it's in the moment. I can't project it and see it, and I can look at the past and see how it unfolded and how it felt, but how it truly is happening is in the moment. I can't ask for something in an hour. It's right now. It's just right now.
Yeah.
That helped. Thank you.
I feel like too that, well, just a moment, this was one of your moments of grace, I guess, Cinda, but I was aware in the moment yesterday that, oh my gosh, I'm seeing with God's eyes. But like, it was like, it was because I was in a waiting room waiting at my eye doctor. And there was this one woman sitting way across the room from me. And she was talking to someone who was out of my sight, like around the corner or something. They were talking. But this woman I could see, she was grossly overweight. And she was talking about this woman and what a great bargain she'd gotten on this dress. And she says, plus my shoes, and she's got her legs are kind of dangling because they're, you know, they're spread apart, they're big, you know, the whole thing. I see, and she's got these incredible shoes on, slip-on shoes. They're sparkly silver, just sequin, the whole thing. She says, I've got my sequin shoes and I feel so good. She was absolutely radiating joy. You know, we had masks on, so I couldn't see her face, but I felt I felt so much joy from her. And I didn't see her body. I mean, I'm describing it to you now, but I really was not thinking about this woman, you know. There was no kind of, sometimes I think in the past where I'm just kind of turned off by how would people let themselves get that way. There was none of that. It was just, I was seeing this beautiful human being. And I was kind of shocked. I was almost like shaking my head going, I'm seeing her spirit. I'm seeing who she really is. And that was amazing, because I felt like God gave me an opportunity to see how I am changing. And I mean, in the way I want to, and kind of the same things we talk about, where, you know, we're praying for awareness, we're praying for be more compassionate or loving. I'm praying just to be God's love in the world. And I experienced it with this woman. I just loved her. She was, I don't know, it was just very, very interesting. I hope she felt it, because we were right across from each other. So our eyes, even though she was quite a ways away, I felt like, I'm trying to say, are our eyes meeting or not? I didn't know, but it was kind of, it was good. It was good. I am, thanks to these groups, thanks to, you know, being able to talk about it, thanks to being able to be honest with our failures, like, in, you know, when I've judged, and it just helps to be able to get clarity, and it helps to be able to open my heart more, I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'll never get out of my vision, out of my mind, these shoes. I've never seen shoes like these. I mean, they were just sparkly. You know, and she'd gotten for like $1 or something. So I don't know where she was shopping, probably at one of the thrift stores, but just, you know, they they matched her personality is what they did. But they were, and she was so in love with them, because they were talking, well, and she says, yeah, but I've got my shoes, my sparkly shoes.
Oh, that is such a great, sweet story. Wow. Wow.
How about a 10-minute meditation?
Sounds good.
Okay. Go into mute. I don't feel any intruders or outsiders around us at all. So I'm just going to call in let us call in our spiritual teams to keep it this way. Our energy fields are clear, they're pure, and they're full of love and light. We are connected to God, the source of all that is, above and all around us. We are connected below to Earth Mother, her support, her unconditional love, and her magnificent life force. And we can feel the firmness of her, the love from her, the support by her, by having our feet firmly on the ground. And we are one with all of life. And we are one with the unseen world consciousness, God's source, grace, consciousness. And in this connection, we open our mind, we set our intention to open our mind and our hearts, our spiritual hearts, more fully to a new awareness and a new experience with our higher self. And let us sit with this for 10 minutes, and then I'll call us back. You may very gently come back, or you may just stay where you are and end the call. But I'm kind of hoping you'll come back. Thank you, both of you, very much.
It was lovely.
Mhm.
So let us go into the rest of our day with that wonderful, the grace of God, love and light, radiated out.
You know, what came to me as I was listening to this talk that Deepak Chopra and this other man whose name I don't know were giving. And the man was a scientist, a neuroscientist, or a medical doctor of some kind. And then he had a spiritual awakening because he was praying for awareness. He didn't realize what he was praying, but he was praying for awareness, and he had all of a sudden a profound spiritual awakening, and he couldn't go back to modern medicine the way that it was. And he was talking about energy to the group. And he said, let's do an experiment. Everybody stand up, and I just am going to walk you through embracing what it means to be an energetic field and how we can shift the energy of this room. So he walked people through a meditation, and we've all done this meditation many times, and that was really sort of impressive to me that even I've guided people to do this. But you basically fill yourself up with energy, and then you expand it out to your to the boundary of who you are as a person, and then you take it beyond that, and basically then you're filling your auric field. And he wanted people to kind of move their arms out to where they weren't touching, but almost touching the person next to them, so hand to hand like this, side by side, and feel the energy of that other person, right? And then combined all of the energy of, your energy to their energy, all in the room, and send it out into this room, and let's shift the energy in this room. And I thought, wow, I kind of did it. I was driving the car while I was doing it, changing the energy in my car. But that sort of reminds me, Lena, your story that you shared before we went into meditation, where you were admiring this woman, and initially you had a slight judgment of her size, but then you didn't stay there, because you were all of a sudden seeing what you said through God's eyes because of her joy and her shoes and what that meant. And that woman's joy altered you, and you accepting her joy altered, everyone in the room. And that woman had no idea what she was doing. She was just sharing a story, but you being God in the room and seeing her for what she was altered your own energy first. And then how could it have not altered everyone in that room? And I just, I think of those moments when I think pink. I think I've talked to you guys about the power of pink and self-worth, self-love, self-esteem. And when I am in an environment that isn't comfortable, if I can remember to think pink, I will see the energy in the room change around me, with no effort. It's not like I'm pushing it out, Lynn. It's not like you were pushing this energy out. It was in that moment, like Sue's praying for, the awareness of, oh my gosh, look at the joy this woman has. Look at those shoes. And now I'm happy.
Mhm.
How can that not be passed around? And, so many of us think that we need to sit there and concentrate, or, we see movies where you change the energy by throwing energy balls out. But really, I think the power is in just that awareness of I can be joy right here. I can see through God's eyes, or I can represent God in the room, or I can do it on the street with a homeless person without even, and doing it in peace and awareness, not with any forced intention.
Mhm. I believe that. I believe yeah, I believe that is where we are at this place in our journey and where we want to continue to be and expand. I was thinking when we finished this meditation, and it's such a great hour. Now I have to step out in the real world and I'm going to get my oil changed. And I'll have to wait for an hour. And I thought I'll have lots of opportunity because there'll be all kinds of people around coming and going. So I'll lots of opportunity. We'll see how I do. But in my meditation right before you called us back, I was on a baseball field. I mean, I was watching down, looking into a baseball field, and a big stadium. Like, it's probably I've just been watching too many Mariners games, but that's where I was. I don't know. I was trying to figure out now what does this have to do with? But maybe that's a showing that we can have that if we stay connected to God, to our true self, and who we are, as God created us, we can impact a whole stadium of thousands of people. Maybe that's what, it's like, spread it out. It can be, I don't know. Who knows?
Well, oh, go ahead, Sue.
That's exactly what Christine Marie Sheldon says. Be a beacon. That you are either broadcasting anger, broadcasting fear, broadcasting pink love. I keep seeing pink. Mm-hmm. Pink love and light. We're broadcasting something, and that affects thousands upon thousands of people. It's a ripple effect. So exactly what we're talking about is this is what Joel Goldsmith, I've been reading it for over 10 years. Healing is exactly what Cinda just described. It's the consciousness, no ego, no intention, just being an open channel, and what comes through, and Lynn did it, was I see these shoes, there's a woman at the other end of these shoes, and focusing on the joy and knowing she's a spiritual being. That's the key of healing, because as soon as we recognize, and it's a gift of God, it is totally a gift, the human mind can't conceive it, and the ego will never go there. To recognize the other person as a child of God creates instant healing for both ends. And that's what I'm saying. That's what I started off this morning with saying, is like, I know it, but
what was the phrase you were going to take into meditation for when you first came on this morning?
Limiting beliefs.
Limiting beliefs, yeah. Yeah. Well, I think we expanded. We jumped out of those limiting beliefs.
Yes.
We broke down the barriers. Oh gosh, you guys are great. I love you both. And I need to go. I gotta go get my oil changed.
Thank you.
Take care. Have a great rest of the week.
This was lovely. Thank you to the both of you. Have a beautiful weekend.
Yes.
Thank you, Cinda. Have a great day. Have a great day, Lynn.